Good morning, good night, depending on when you're listening. I'm going to make an intro in English first before to pass on a message in Italian, which is the language in which Spirit wants to communicate today. Disclaimer, when watching videos, I receive some feedback from people asking, it's sort of shocking to see the way the body moves forward and back. In any area that we have never explored before, it's normal to face the unusual. When you start to scratch the surface a little bit more and find other people that do that, or research a little bit more on what is happening and normalize it as you realize as often it happens, then it becomes more digestible. It is something that you can start to grasp a little bit more. If you see, for example, several other psychic medium channelers, you may demystify and understand that it is so common and discover that many people would have their way. It's like witnessing different people singing. If you never ever sing someone singing, it may be surprising at the beginning. There may be people that sing for opera, singing, some people that sing rock, and that would be a completely different experience. Some people would have their eyes open, some people would have their eyes closed, some people would sit in stillness, others would dance or move while they sing. It is not as that different with people when they express their spiritual abilities, because these are abilities. And yes, in some sort, there's also talent, or there could be a soul blueprint underneath. However, it comes back to abilities. These are abilities that everyone has. The human is the most amazing technology we can say ever created, ever existed, and it's just a matter of learning how to use it. Yes, there is discernment. There is always discernment. And in distinguishing what is fake, what is real, this is not the point of the video to convince anyone, but those of you to understand that every tool or any ability can be applied for the good, can be applied for the less good. And so the discernment is always an experience and a tool that you yourself can claim and can use to then determine if what you're listening, what you're seeing, what you're sensing, and that's another important point, can be constructive or not. When you listen to the message, like even other messages that I've shared, it's just the vision, it's just the sensation that you have. Is that a sensation that is the real sense? Like, are we attuning into the same sensation, or is that your way, your programming way to deal with the unknown, to deal with what is unfamiliar with you? I'll make you a practical example on this. Let's remind that when we observe, that when we absorb what is around us, we have several senses. And so we can also peel off the layers of those senses to the ones that serve us the most. Try and listening with your eyes closed and hear the words. Do they say anything that can relate to you? Is there anything constructive or that could be useful? Do you understand all? Do you understand part of it? Then the senses. Let it aside the vision. Now, me personally, this is very early morning in Sydney, in a winter. In fact, I'm snuggling on a blanket. It's very cold here in Sydney. I show up as I am. I wouldn't change or modify my physical presentation just for someone else's expectation of others. It's the context. So please embrace sometimes the simplicity in which I show up, which is consistent with what moment I'm facing in that day. Back to the message, the last thing that I can share with you, I want to make you a practical example if that's helpful. I received this feedback from someone that is very dear to me and watched one of the videos and said, it's impressive, not in a nice way, the way you move forward and back, so I wanted to explain that. And this is really attunement to frequency. When a person channels, there is that attunement to high frequency. Obviously, anytime that I share a message, that has already been filtered, so there's hours that I do behind it and before to clear the energies, to clear any intrusive energies, any negative, any intrusion that tries to sneak in. It's like if sometimes you have the scam or the people that are not invited to the party that want to join. So I do a lot of thorough work to make sure that what comes through is only in light. As a matter of fact, because so many hours are dedicated to that, and because of my transparency in coming up with no makeup, just as I am, the face may appear tired. And that also comes with my experience of my human body. I'm not 20 anymore, and I'm very fine with experiencing and embracing that. This said, I want to invite everyone that is watching to understand, if you feel this big change and you're not comfortable with it, it's okay. Those of you who still our friend or the one with me, don't be shy to ask questions. You don't have to do this in public. You can send me a message in private. If you don't want to do it, that's okay. Those of you who are curious, who want to understand, or say for example they are on their spiritual path, they are just on their soul progression or in their human personal development, and they maybe start to do meditation, or they want to welcome in some download, they want to welcome in some more messages or some more guidance, and I may have questions. So as you recognize someone that is a step ahead of you, and for me, I watch up to people that are way more ahead of me, it's part of the great experience to ask questions and ask to clarify what is not as clear for you, and anything else that you may have to share. It may be a relatability. You may have been going through the same path behind closed door. And so feel free to connect if that's you. This person was saying, even like if you see me crying during when I channel, there might be a reason. Okay, sometimes it may be an intense emotion, but I want to specify this. When I channel, first of all, I have made a deal that if I do channel, then I expect that to energize me. I want only that to rebalance, to energize me in a beautiful way, and that happens. Now there are situations that are not as pleasant, such as for example if I do clearing, or if I'm facing intrusion or clearing contracts from these or other realms, or reconciliating contracts across lifetimes. Those are not always positive experiences. What I can say is 100% with my integrity, if I share a message that is completely in the light and from the light, and so there is the emotion, sometimes the vibration that I perceive starts to raise up, and that will match the movement of the body that is a little bit more accentuated. The frequency that passes, not just the sound, you may just feel or hear the sound of the words. There is the perception. It's like when you feel love from within, you feel it. Someone may say, I love you, and you can hear it with your hearers. You may see the person in front of you. You may sense the openness of your cells and of your energy, but you can also feel the warmth. And so sometimes if I get moved as I'm speaking through, it's also the attunement and the experience of those high frequency. There is a moment in one of the first videos that I've shared where spirit guides also say, they're passing the message. By the way, other clarification, it's not a completely trance as under Transchannelling. That was more decades ago way of doing things. As a part of the discernment that is always present, it can be a combination. So it can be a combination. You have psychic, you have channelers that would be fully present. You would have the ones that step more completely aside and have developed that relationship of trust, of allowing the message to come forth. I had other lifetimes where that was happening, and I wasn't so attuned as I am in this lifetime with discernment. And so I'm clearing now so many things to do with when you give permission to something to speak through you that is not so much in the light. And this is something that can happen. And so I understand that many people have the uncertainty, or may think, oh, this is evil, or this is black magic, or whatever. The label is in your hand. That's okay. This is not for our conversation. I'm not speaking to that audience. Go ahead and decide what you want to watch and what you want not. The others that are curious, that are open, that understand and hear that what comes through is constructive and is in light. If you're also, for those of you who are practicing this for themselves, as you start to open up, know that when you open the door, it's like you open the door of a business. You open the door, anyone can enter. So you need to filter and you need to discern. In the moment I have already taken care of that discernment and I pass the message, what comes through is only in light. Yes, you may see my face, may be tired for different reasons that have nothing to do with that channeling. However, the point is, it's more of a trance, as TRANS, through, going through, a channeling going through, rather than trance, TRANCE. And so that distinguishment, I think, is very valuable, because it is a co-piloting, it is a co-creation, and it's me. I need to be very, it is an art that of itself. Those of you who do sessions like quantum healing, beyond quantum healing, any type of regress hypnosis where also that the soul, the spirit is very much present, this is also relevant, because you would have to be so good in not allowing your rational mind to jump in with question. You can, however, you need to be aware that that will lessen the frequency of the mission, of the communication. And so when spirit starts to speak through me, whether I'm moving forward the message of God Source, spirit guides, or other benevolent collective or beings, I observe and I leave. If the mind of Federica, if it's like having a conversation, comes through to ask questions that would lower it and lessen the frequency. So I really need to be good in stepping back and stay aside, enabling the message to come through for the audience. At times it's a dance. I may ask questions telepathically, and that is more often when the audience may hear a yes, blah blah blah, or no, blah blah blah. That might be an example of either I have asked a question, as in Federica telepathically, or they may already know that someone in the audience have or will have that question, and so they go ahead to clear that topic and to make more clarity on that. I hope this is gonna be very helpful to navigate. I would have the option to, when offering the videos, just put an overlay. However, I prefer sometimes the raw integrity of presenting things as they are, and I don't mind people being uncomfortable. I know my people will find me, and I know over time it will make sense of what was in light, what was constructive, and what not. Truth always reveals itself. So if you're willing to have the courage to perceive the message, if you're not comfortable with the video, flip the phone down or just look away and try. What experience did you have if just hearing the message, if you're witnessing or listening to one of the channeled messages that I share or other people, and try with that. So if the mind, if the body is not ready to process another human that closes the eyes and is speaking something, it sounds like them, it looks like them, but it's not just quiet, and it's all over weird. It is too much for your human brain to comprehend. Try looking away, try flipping the phone down and see how you go with that, just with the vocal, just with the audio experience of that. Sensation sometimes guide us, some sensation like intuition sometimes guide us for the best. Sometimes that could also be that survival mechanism that is wrapping us around us, and now I close the window, this is malevolent, this is not good, this might be stressful. You just don't know. So ask questions. As if this person that is very new to me was saying, oh, like, you look tired when you're moving, if you tear sometimes, it looks like they're really testing you, it looks like it's very heavy for you. No, it's not heavy. As a matter of fact, that part is so loving, and so why I'm tearing sometimes. So big is the emotion. I was saying before, let me reconnect with that. There is one point where spirit guides say, in the invitation that everyone should and will can communicate with source, with their spirit guides, we appreciate how this one, they refer to me, is not shy to ask us questions back. And so they too, there was the opportunity for spirit guides, and they went ahead and in that channel live message said, we apologize to you, and every body spirit team apologizes to the person for all the things that they cannot conceive, for all the layers, the matters, the flow having to do with the biology and the experience in the human body that they cannot comprehend. And that compassion, and that came, like, I could feel that apology, I could feel the warmth, I could feel the support and the benevolence, and hence I'm tearing. You can see Federica, the body tearing and crying as the message keeps going. Sometimes my throat would start to vibrate a little bit more, and that could be words of pure truth. That may be a message that is moving in a particular way. That might be something that is so relevant for the audience and for others. One last specification. The messages that I shared, when I shared, obviously those are not just messages for myself, are messages for the collective. It's like if you listen and you decide to listen to a PhD lecture on a particular topic. Yes, everyone can listen and everyone would be able to extrapolate something to some degree that is constructive and useful for them. It might just be a curiosity. It might just be something that your subconscious register, and it may serve you later on. You may come back to it when you're ready to digest it. You may not make sense of it, and that's okay too. It's part of your experience. The people that would resonate with that sort of degree will understand, and the people that are in that specific niche of the lecture will understand even more and will relate. So the message is for our passing. This is for Federica the human. This is where also I'm continuing to do my inner work, in my path. The messages are for those of you who know that are in light, the ones that have fully stepped up in their light, in the work that they came here to do. And there is also a big message and a big function for me to pass messages. One of the function is also to remember to the people that are in between. They are in between the living the human experience and that sense of knowing from within that they are called here to do something bigger. And it's not for everybody to understand, and this was never meant for everybody to understand, but for you to show up and stop fooling yourself. recognizing that you came here, you agreed to come here for reasons, and it's time to remember those reasons. Now, it's not me, it's not Frederica that is going to tell you what is the reason, but it's the reminder, hey, go in, use the beautiful, amazing technology that you have being a human, and start communicating with your guides so that you can remember who you are and why you came here. And they clarify this. They say there are people, there are souls that in their human form came here and remember right away. They knew right away why they incarnated in this lifetime, in this time, in this body. Some woke up at some point with that full remembering of the mission. The mission is not always clear. There are many missions. And as you go through achieving the mission, there might be many wonder in the tour. We are all co-creating together. So timing, when it comes to human timing, that may vary. Events may vary. The people that may decide to come on our path or not may vary. So we may have an agreement, and as we walk in blind to the human experience, we may forget. Some people remember more, some people remember less. When spirit guides, the universe source taps on your shoulder and say, hey, you were meant to do this. Or this is your passion, this is your desire, or keeps putting on in front of you events, books, things to try to nudge you in that direction of what you meant to do. Do you follow or do you not? I'm guilty of having not followed so many times. There are still things that I haven't done. Where spirits goes, you need to listen. We don't know you're not listening. There are things that I've fully embodied and show up. And there I take the acknowledgement there that I'm doing it. So each of you will have a different experience. And they also refer, take the opportunity to completely appreciate those ones that since moment one have fully stepped into the full creation. Now there's always layers, so not only the things that you can create, as in the event or the business that you can create, or the art that you can create, or the food that you can create, or the holistic services, the healing that you can provide to someone. That is one of the expressions, but there are many other expressions. The degree to which you learn to have boundaries within yourself and others, the degree to which you learn to have boundaries between your spiritual life, the soul parts, and the human things that you need or want to do to go forth. There are people that hear the messages and say, yeah, look, I listen, but I need to go to work, or I want to go to this party, and that is part of the free will that is always respected. And so they say, we always love you, we cannot not love you, we always respect you, but we are still here to guide you if you let us. And so if you do want to receive the guidance, keep communicating with them, and don't be shy to communicate back. They say to me, give the audience some examples so that they can understand. Then I'll give you some. And I'm not too willing to share my personal things, but I see the constructiveness that even if it helps one person, I think that is very valuable. I am so grateful to all the teachers before me and still now that went ahead and shared what was going on in their personal life. That I extrapolated so many valuable teaching and then went on and created my own. And they were the key to really unlock some parts of the journey. And to learn how to navigate, how to move forward, to understand how things work. In the moment you think this is happening, so this must be it, you are living a very limited reality. When you start to learn that contracts and things and your minds, your belief can be changed, that you can detach from the ancestral line blueprint, that you can detach from contracts and vows made in other lifetimes that are still affecting you in some ways, that you can detach it, you can distinguish and walk away or release from your nervous system the programming such as you're unworthy or scarcity programming or anything similar. So much more freedom, and what you can create is really expanding and broadening beyond your best imagination. So the power, the key is always in you. For this reason, I'm gonna make you just a couple of examples of what are some of my communication having with my spirit guides, and this has strengthened our relationship so beautifully that it is now more of a co-piloting example. One of the things that I needed to clarify was this communication. This is also something that as a therapist, I see with my clients with quantum healing. Sometimes when the soul comes through, the soul is sort of not upset, but yeah, some more or less are a little sort of pissed off in a way and say, we always talk. They don't listen. Those of you who have gone through the training of Dolores Cannon or have seen some past regression online, even with other therapies or other programs that were created of the similar type, it is not as uncommon to hear a spirit guides coming through and say, we always speak, she doesn't listen, or he doesn't listen, he doesn't care. And in many ways, I understood what was being missing there and communicated back to spirit guides to say, Do you understand that I don't hear you? Do you understand that I can see you, that I cannot feel you as much? So talk louder, continue to guide, and we compromise. It's like, okay, if you want me to do, if there was something that my soul has decided, and that is very important for me, I'll tell you one, to create events and to gather. This also God told me, gather my children, gather my children, gather my children. That boy's throat chakra vibration, you should know by now, it's speaking the truth. And a strong message from me, from within. And there's still layers of me that are not following along and doing that. And so that is an example why this is relevant to you. Because if you don't follow through for whatsoever reason that you may have, the spirit's guide may think you're not interested. Instead, you may care about that so much. It's just you yourself need help as a human, or need extra support from spirit and from the physical human world to have more support, to go through, to gather the resources, to gather the partnership, whatever that may be. Communicate back, communicate what you need. So I, for example, said, hey, if there is something that I'm here, I'm showing up, I'm telling you I'm showing up, I'm telling you I want to reach the point where my soul is fulfilled because I did what I came here to do, and I merged that in a way that is also okay for my human. It's also okay with what Federica, the ego, has created, like the identity, for example, the being an athlete, that's part of the ego experience of Federica in this lifetime. There are things that the soul has also agreed to do that are not in the same line, but we can co-pilot and co-create so everything gets done. It requires a little bit of sacrifice sometimes, going more right, going more left, and finding something in between. So in my communication back, recently said, okay, let's do this. If you don't give up, don't give up. If everything is based on unconditional love, can you remind me? I need to feel you more. Can I be reminded with more sensation of love and support? Pass me excitement. Sometimes when we have thoughts, when you do have a thought or an idea, do you think that's only coming from your brain? Or do you understand it's also God and your soul communicating to you? That is built there for a reason. That is your desire, that is your goal, that is your gift for yourself and for humanity. Don't just keep it for yourself. Express that, create it, share it with others. That is there for a reason. Do not ignore that. Foster it, feed it, let it express, let it flow, create it. And that dance expression between the masculine and the feminine, it's something that everything carries within. Regardless of gender, we all have those beautiful qualities. So create, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, create a desire that you have within, give yourself permission to create that. And if you find yourself stuck in ways that you can conceive or you cannot, ask for higher guidance. And so I've been saying to spirit guides, I have limitation, yes. And so let's make this deal, remind me with excitement. If you see I'm not following along, let's do not allow space for putting down or being disappointed or inner frustration. That's everyone is different. Some of you are familiar with human design. Everyone would have two major emotions. One to signal, yes, you're on the right path. One to signal, you're going off track. Soul-wise, you're going off track. For me, inner frustration, does my friend know I don't do frustration with things. I don't allow things to frustrate me. That's was alchemized and transmuted. Comes with amazing joy and freedom. There is one exception where I feel frustration, and that's me towards myself. When I fail to do things that my soul wants to do, when I fail to do things that are important for me, there I feel frustrated with myself. When you follow the things that are good for you, some of you will have that. For some of you, the emotion that signals that you're getting there, it's freedom. For some of you, is joy. For some of you, is love. So it may vary. For some of you, the negative sensation is not frustration, is anger. So learn to know yourself, have a look into human design, and understanding all these tools alongside astrology can be invaluable to understand better how to use the inner technology that we have as a human. Back to soul, getting there or not, the deal that I've done with my guides was, let's use emotions as excitement. So like if use a bit of humor, that's also one of my traits. Use humor, use excitement to remind me until I have done. If it's creating an event to gather people, remind me of that in fun ways, in ways that are exciting until I have done it. Back to that niche, like in a lecture, when they talk about energy and they remind, there's going to be a tiny percentage of you when you call for divine protection that will not come or may not come. If that is you and you know that you have done the discernment, you know you have called protection, and that's still not happening, caveats, there might be a reason associated to what your soul came here to do, with the roles that you have and you will play. And so if that is you, do not cave in, do not feel alone. Know that there is a reason. If you learn to develop that communication with spirit, you can ask. At this moment, I know that that is there for a reason. And so I'm still fostering, I'm still sending love to Source Creator. And I trust, I know there is a reason that I do not prefer. Federica does not prefer in any way. I'm not happy with it, but I understand. And so we co-create. That co-creation, that communication back and forth with spirit guides and Source can also be, okay, listen, I have a full-time job, I have my side business, training, other things that need to happen. So those hours and hours dealing with psychic attacks or spiritual things from galactic and these realms, I'm not functioning as a human. And so what the effects on the human emotions, on the human biology, on the human physiology, those are the areas where spirit guides not always understand as much. That is a beautiful opportunity for communication. That is a beautiful opportunity for you to negotiate with them. I said, okay, so we'll let that happen. They say afterwards that happen, as in, okay, we made that happen more on a weekend so that you have time to recover. Caveat is not necessarily time to recover it, because the part that they do not understand is that the effects that this will have on the mental layers, on the emotional layer, on the body layers. It is not restful if you have a night where you're dealing with clearing entities or etc. or attacks in astral world or in vivid dreams or both. That may not be restful. And so that communication that the human needs, the oxytocin, the human then needs the support within and without, with the people around. And if a person hasn't got that network around, then this is not likely going to reflect in the person taking more action in their soul path. And so that compassion from them in that message was also expressing that, was also, excuse us, please excuse us when we do not understand, and help us communicate back to us. So the invitation for you is find a way to communicate with your spirit guides. Find a way to say, to express what you need. That start with awareness, have the awareness, have the knowledge, experience of yourself, and communicate that with what you need for yourself and what you need from them. And it may be a balance. It may not always be like giving an order and receiving something back. It's a dance, like a creation. I hope this is helpful. Make the most out of it. It can be a beautiful journey. Until next time, thank you.